the start of the movie, we're shown a man named Ben, who's been training some animals for quite a while, animals who could go on to become FBI agents. Ben was training this team, and he called them GeForce, led by Darwin. Second in command was Juarez, third was Blaster, and the fourth member was Hurley, and besides them, there was also a fly named Mooch. Ben tells Darwin, the leader of GeForce, that the head of the FBI is coming tomorrow to shut down the GeForce program, and if they want to stop that from happening, they'll need to pull off a mission. Their mission was to steal data from the CEO of Saber Industries, because the FBI was already working on this case, suspecting that the company was building chips that could be turned into weapons. If GeForce could get that data before the FBI did, the FBI would never be able to shut down a program, and every member of GeForce would instead be made permanent FBI agents. Darwin now heads to Saber's mansion with his team to carry out the mission. Mooch, the fly on the team, straps a camera to herself and flies around the entire mansion, while Speckles manages everything else from underground. Darwin's job was to get inside and download the data, while Blaster and Hurley's job was to get Darwin out safely. Meanwhile, Saber was introducing his new product to his guests, explaining how he was about to bring a technology revolution to the world. In the next 48 hours, he was going to launch a new program that would activate every chip installed in every home, making all the appliances in people's houses run on their own and making everyone's lives a lot easier. Sounds like a smart home upgrade, but we all know this is a movie, so something's definitely about to go wrong. Darwin had reached the room and had almost finished copying the data, but right then security shows up and triggers the alarm. In no time, a fire breaks out, and Darwin barely escapes with his life. Blaster and Hurley were waiting right outside and pulled Darwin up, and just then Ben shows up in a remote-control van and rescues all of them, taking them along with him. Ben was extremely impressed by this mission, and along with his assistant, he was ready to report to the FBI head. The FBI head, named Kip, arrives with his team and asks straight up, "So tell me, what exactly have you been researching?" Ben then tells him about his GeForce team, that these are all extraordinary animals capable of working like agents. But Kip doesn't believe a word of it, and he's not even remotely interested. Hearing this, Ben shows off a device he built that lets him talk to all these animals. Kip gets a little excited seeing the device, and after that Ben tells Hurley to start the footage from last night's mission, the Saber data copy. The presentation starts, but all that plays is a promo video for Saber's product, meaning the actual data they brought back had gotten corrupted. Kip realizes these rodents can't do anything useful, and shuts down Ben's entire GeForce program. The GeForce team realizes they're about to get caught, so Ben's assistant tells them to get out of there. Darwin says, "Please tell Ben to definitely check the drive, because I copied that data myself." To avoid the FBI agents, they all hide inside a cage, and that cage ends up loaded onto a pet shop truck. The FBI head finds out that all these rodents are escaping, and orders them to be caught. All the agents end up inside the pet shop, where they run into two more members, a hamster named Bucky who's always angry, and a guinea pig who's quite the jolly type. Darwin then tries to open their cage without explaining anything, so Hurley assumes they've escaped from some circus. But Darwin explains that they're genetically advanced animals who help the FBI on missions. Right then, Mooch the fly shows up, and Darwin tells her to get their location to Ben as fast as it can, because Saber's ship is set to activate in the next 29 hours. Just then a family walks in, and Darwin makes a plan with his team that no matter what, they need to get adopted so they can get out of there. A little girl takes a liking to Hurley, and he gets adopted along with Juarez. But the girl's mischievous brother throws Hurley into a snake's cage. It turns out the snake was about to eat him, but luckily there was a glass wall separating the two. Thank God for that, otherwise this story would have ended right there. After that, the boy leaves with his pets. At this point, the mole tells Darwin, "I have an idea. I'll act like I'm dying. When they pick me up and throw me out, I'll escape from there and get you out too." But the pet shop workers pick him up and dump him into the garbage compactor, where the machine ends up actually killing him. This is the first time the movie makes us realize this isn't just a cute story about rodents. Ben's assistant tells Ben that Darwin had said he was completely certain he'd put the correct data on the drive. Ben sends his trained cockroach, who brings the drive back. They then discover that the file Darwin had copied was actually correct, but someone had planted a virus inside it. That's exactly why a useless video played instead of the real data that day. Meanwhile, Hurley is talking to Darwin, and noticing the scars on Darwin's body, says he feels like he might be his long-lost brother. Right then, they hear a sound from the house of their friend Bucky. When they lift it up, they see he has stuffed his mouth with a bunch of biscuits. This annoys them because they too were hungry and were wondering why he couldn't care to share. Then they also discover a secret passage beneath him, and Darwin is visibly mad because had Bucky talked sooner or told them, the mole wouldn't have died and they wouldn't have all been separated. Darwin jumps in and starts heading to Ben's house, but just then Bucky pushes Hurley in too, and he falls in the same place. The scene then shifts. It turns out Saber wasn't doing all this alone. Behind this entire chip scheme was a man named Mr. Hokuro, who was using Saber's technology and money to gather up every satellite orbiting the Earth. When Saber can't make sense of what's happening, he asks Hokuro, "What exactly are they doing?" Hokuro just says, "Just trust my work." Famous last words of every villain ever. Meanwhile, Ben finds out exactly where his GeForce team is, so he heads to the pet shop with his team to rescue them. But by the time he gets there, everyone's already gone. The scene shifts to Hughes and Blaster, who are being played with by two little kids. But since these two were trained agents after all, they give the kids a hard time. And escape with the toy car. Darwin and Hurley also get stuck in several places along the way, but somehow they manage to get out. After getting out, Darwin spots a shop with a coffee maker inside it. Seeing the coffee maker reminds Darwin that he'd seen the same kind of product at Saber's company launch. On checking, Darwin spots a chip inside it, and realizes this is the exact chip used to build the army weapon systems. But just then the coffee maker suddenly activates and starts attacking. Darwin desperately wants that chip, so he chases the robot, and right then a car shows up and runs over the robot. Darwin places the robot on a skateboard and heads off toward Ben's house. Blaster and Hughes had already arrived there. When Ben learns about the mole's death, it hits him hard. After that, Ben finally tells them the truth. That GeForce was never made up of special genetically engineered animals in any real sense. They were just given excellent training, which is why they're a bit different. Darwin had always believed he was a special animal, so this breaks his heart. But then Hurley reassures him, what they were doing, no other normal animal could. Pull that off. Motivated by Hurley's words, Darwin agrees to back Ben once again. Darwin tells Ben that the chips are about to activate very soon, and every product sitting in people's homes is going to turn into a weapon, and they only have half an hour left to stop the machine. Ben tells Darwin that the data he'd put on the drive did have a virus in it, which is exactly why the real video never played that day. At this point, Hurley has an idea. Why not feed that same virus in his Saber system, so all the chips get deactivated? Ben pulls out some gadgets and gets his whole team ready for the mission. Meanwhile, a few FBI agents show up at Ben's house to capture GeForce, but all the GeForce members manage to enter their spheres and escape in a cool way. When the FBI tries to catch them, they all scatter in different directions. These tiny animals pull off action sequences like full-blown heroes, slipping under cars, outrunning everyone chasing them, the whole works. Everyone watching them on the road was stunned that these animals could move with such precision. The whole GeForce team had now arrived outside Saber's house. They leave Hurley on watch while the rest try to get in, but Hurley gets really hungry and accidentally wanders off after spotting a pastry, and in the process ends up trapped inside an oven. As they go deeper into the system, they find out they're already too late, and all of Saber's chip-loaded products activate at once. And everywhere in the world where those products exist, they start merging together into giant robots. Even the FBI gets wind of this, which is why they call in Saber. Saber himself had no idea that the project he started purely to make money would turn into something this dangerous. Right then a robot shows up and attacks Darwin and his friends. At the same time, Darwin learns that Hurley is stuck inside the oven. Darwin manages to dodge the robot and also frees Hurley. After that, Darwin shoves the robot toward a computer.
Please, the recap of this particular movie took a lot of energy for me to make. Please subscribe to get me to 100 subscribers. I don't think it's really that much. Okay, back to the movie.
System, and when the two collide, there's a massive blast. Darwin gets stuck inside a vent at that moment, so he tells his friends to get out right away. Mooch, who is with him, and Darwin push forward to upload the virus. Saber tells the head of the FBI that he had no hand in any of this, that he was only working with a partner and had no idea this would spiral into something this big. Right then, Ben arrives and tells the head of the FBI how all the GeForce agents are working to stop all of this. Everyone was watching Darwin live on the feed. By this point, Darwin had already made it to the main system core. And it's here that it's revealed that Speckles the Mole had been planning all of this from the start, and that he was Mr. Hokuro, the business partner of Mr. Saber. Because the man never saw his face, he didn't know that it wasn't a real person. Darwin asks him why he is doing this, and he explains that years ago his entire family had died, and he held humans responsible for it. Before dying, his father had told him, make sure you take our revenge on humans. That's why he used Saber's money and influence to build such a massive weapons plan. Saber himself couldn't believe he'd actually been making deals with an animal this whole time. Boss-level betrayal, and from a mole rat no less. Speckles' real mission was to use the waves coming off all of Saber's products to pull down every single satellite orbiting the Earth, causing massive explosions everywhere. Darwin tries to stop Speckles, telling him, please don't do this, but Speckles doesn't stop for a second and presses the button anyway. A massive robot then emerges from Saber's mansion, its rays starting to pull satellites down out of orbit, and explosions start going off everywhere. Darwin moves forward to stop it, but an explosion knocks him down, and the chip carrying the virus falls out of his hand. Hurley rushes in to save his life and pulls Darwin to safety, but to get Darwin back up, Hurley
I just want to remind to you again to subscribe and support my efforts.
himself has to go down. Meanwhile, Speckles orders his robot to grab the van carrying all the agents, including Ben. Darwin desperately tries to reason with Speckles. Ben gave us so much love, not every human is the same, and we're all one family. Speckles finally realizes his mistake and tries to stop his robot, but the damage was already so severe that the system locks up. Right then, Mooch arrives with the virus chip. Darwin leaps and plugs the chip straight into the system. As a virus spreads through the entire network, every single robot deactivates right before our eyes. Both Darwin and Hurley had survived. The giant robot in front of them collapses too. Ben and the rest of the FBI agents were all safe, and Saber gets arrested. A little while later, it's revealed that Hurley isn't moving at all. Darwin panics and starts crying loudly, saying, "I'd really started thinking of you as my brother." And right then, Hurley opens his eyes. This whole thing was just him pranking everyone. Classic Hurley, scaring us too. Speckles also apologizes to everyone. All of Saber's products get banned, and Speckles helps the FBI pull all these chips out of circulation around the world. Along with that, every single member of GeForce is now made a permanent FBI agent, and the movie ends on this great note. So, let me know in the comments how you like this movie. See you all in the next one. Until then, bye for now.
I just want to remind you again to subscribe and support my efforts.